Hey guys, so today we're going to be solving Leetcode problem number 1143, Longest Common Subsequence. So this is going to be a classic dynamic programming problem, and dynamic programming is an important pattern to know for coding interviews. So let's get right into it. So in this problem, we're given two strings, text1 and text2, and we want to return the length of their longest common subsequence. So what do we mean by longest common subsequence? Well, let's say we have the following example where text1 equals A, B, C, D, E, and text2 equals A, C, E. We can get a subsequence from text1 by deleting any number of characters from A, B, C, D, E, as long as we don't change the order of the remaining characters. So if we were to remove the characters B and D from text1 while preserving the relative order of the remaining characters, we'd end up with the subsequence A, C, E, and that's a valid subsequence of A, B, C, D, E. Now, a common subsequence is just a subsequence that appears in both strings. So the subsequence ACE that we found in text1 also appears in text2 because it's already ACE, and therefore ACE is a common subsequence. We know that there's no common subsequence that could be longer than this because we're already using the entire string in text2. So in this example, we can return 3 as the longest common subsequence. So how can we come up with a way to systematically compare two strings to get the longest common subsequence between them? Well, let's start at the beginning of both strings and compare the first character in each. We can use a pointer I for text1 and j for text2. So where I and j are set to the first position, they both share a common character a, which means that even if all the other characters in text1 and text2 were different, we know that the longest common subsequence will be at least 1. So moving forward, we can consider the longest common subsequence up to the first position for text1 and text2 to be 1. And now we just need to find the longest common subsequence of the remaining characters in both strings, plus 1. So if we shift I and j forward, we end up comparing B in text1 to C in text2, and we can see that they don't match. So we have two options we can choose from here. We can either skip B from text1 and compare CDE with CE, or we can skip C from text2 and compare BCDE with just E. And whichever of these two gives us the longer result is going to be our answer. And so we can see if we were to skip B from text1, we get a common character between text1 and text2, which is C. And when we find a match, we can add 1 to our existing longest common subsequence. So we can set the longest common subsequence now to 2 and shift both pointers forward. Next, we're comparing D in text1 to E in text2, and we get no match again. So we have to either skip a character in text1 or text2. If we skip D from text1, we end up comparing E with E. But if we were to skip E from text2, we'd reach the end of that string and there's nothing left for us to compare. And so it only makes sense for us to skip D from text1. And because we end up pointing to the common character E, we can once again increment our longest common subsequence to 3. At this point, we've reached the end of both strings. So we can return 3 as the longest common subsequence between A, B, C, D, E and ACE. And so to recap, when characters match, we can set the longest common subsequence to 1 plus the longest common subsequence of the remaining characters. And when they don't match, we can try skipping from either string and take the maximum longest common subsequence between the two. So what's a way that we can keep track of the longest common subsequence we found so far as we go through each pair of positions in the two strings? Well, we can build a two-dimensional grid where we have the columns representing all the characters in text1 and the rows representing all the characters in text2. And now, at each cell in the grid, we can store the longest common subsequence between text1 up to that column's character and text2 up to that row's character. But before we start going through each position and comparing characters, we first need to add an extra row and column at the start of the grid to account for our base case. And why do we need this? Well, remember that at each position for text1 and text2, our longest common subsequence calculation is always added to the previous longest common subsequence. So to get the previous longest common subsequence, we need to look back at a previous row or column. So without this extra row and column, the very first row and column of our table would have nowhere to look. They'd be reaching outside the grid. So the base case gives us a starting point, so every cell has valid neighbors to reference. And what should these base case values be? Well, if one of the strings is empty, there can't be any common characters at all, so the longest common subsequence is 0. That's why the entire first row and first column are filled with zeros. So now that we have our table set up, how can we write a formula to handle matches and mismatches between characters from text1 and text2? Well, let's name our grid DP, and we'll have I set to the row index, which represents all the characters in text2, and j set to the column index, which represents all the characters in text1. If the characters match, remember that we set the longest common subsequence at this point to the previous longest common subsequence plus 1. So where would that previous longest common subsequence be? Well, if we've matched the characters at I and j, the previous longest common subsequence would be the one we found just before considering either of the characters at I and j. So for a match, we could set dp at row I and column j equal to the previous diagonal cell, which is going to be at dp I-1, j-1, plus 1. If the characters don't match though, remember from earlier that we try skipping a character from one string or the other and take whichever one gives us a longer result. In the table, skipping a character from text 2 means looking at the cell above, which is dp at I-1, j. And skipping a character from text 1 means looking at the cell to the left, which is dp at I, j-1. So we can just set dp I, j to the max of those two. So now let's fill the table going row by row. For each cell, we can compare the row character from text 2 with the column character from text 1. Starting with the first character in text 1 and text 2, we find that both are equal to a. So because it's a match, we get the previous longest common subsequence, which is 0 in this case, and we add 1. So dp at 0, 0 becomes 1. Next, we compare a in text 2 with b in text 1. We can see they don't match, so we're going to take the max of the cell above and the cell to the left. Same idea for a versus c, d, and e. There's no match, so we carry forward. Now, for row 2, we compare c in text 2 with all the characters in text 1, starting with a. There's no match here, so we set the longest common subsequence to the max of the cell above and to the left, and we get 1. We carry that forward to the next comparison because c and b also don't match, but on the following comparison, we do get a match between c and c. So we look diagonally and we can see the previous longest common subsequence was 1, and then we add 1 to that to get 2. The rest of the row carries that forward. For the final row, we compare the character e in text 2 with all the characters in text 1. We propagate the longest common subsequence until we find another match where e equals e. So we get the previous longest common subsequence plus 1, which gives us 3. And at this point, we've reached the end of our grid, so we can return 3 as our answer for the longest common subsequence between text 1 and text 2. Now let's consider the time and space complexity for a solution. So for the time complexity, we know that it's O of m times n, where m is the length of text 1 and n is the length of text 2. And that's because we fill every cell in the table exactly once. The space complexity is also O of m times n to account for the memory space required for the DP table we use. So now that we have an idea of our algorithm, as well as the space and time complexity, let's move on to writing up the solution in Leetcode. So here we are with the problem on Leetcode, and I'm going to be coding up the solution in Python. So to start, let's construct our grid. And to do that, we're going to need to know the length of text 1 and text 2. So we can set m equal to the length of text 1 and n equal to the length of text 2. Then we can initialize our 2D grid, dp, and we can initialize all of our values to 0. So to do that, let's create a nested array. So to initialize all of the values in each row, we can set the first value in the inner array to 0, and then just multiply that by n plus 1. And we want the plus 1 to account for our base case. From here, we can copy this to all of our rows by writing for I in range m plus 1. Now let's iterate through all of the cells in the grid, and we can do that using a for loop. So for I in range 1, m plus 1, and we start at 1 instead of 0 because the first row is going to be our base case, which means that everything gets shifted by 1. So we also have to end at m plus 1. We do the same for all of the columns. So for j in range 1, n plus 1. And then from here, we can compare the characters at I and j. But we're actually going to use I minus 1 and j minus 1 as our indices because our grid is essentially 1 indexed, but the characters in text 1 and text 2 are 0 indexed. So if text 1 at I minus 1 is equal to text 2 at j minus 1, we know we've found a match. And so we get the previous longest common subsequence plus 1. So we can set dp of I and j equal to dp of I minus 1, j minus 1 plus 1. Otherwise, we don't have a match. So we set dp of I and j equal to the max at the previous position of text 1 or text 2, which is going to be dp of I, j minus 1, and dp of I minus 1, j. Once we've gone through all of the values in the grid, the last cell in the grid will contain our longest common subsequence. So all we have to do is return the value at that cell. So we can return dp of -1, -1, which will give us the cell at the last row and column of our grid. So let's see if this passes all of the test cases. And it does. And now let's submit our solution. and we can see it's accepted. So there you have it, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment down below, and be sure to subscribe if you want more Leetcode solutions like this. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next one.